What if I told you that there's one question you should be asking that, when answered, will literally solve all of your problems for eternity? This question has been asked and answered by all the sages of history. Sri Ramana Maharshi, Jesus, Babaji, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Shivananda, Gautama Buddha, and all the Buddhas that followed. This question is the eternally divine question of who am I? And the process of answering that question is called Atma Vichara, which is Sanskrit for self-inquiry. The short answer to that question is, I am God. But the catch is that the intellectual understanding of this answer and the actual experience of this truth are not the same thing. The realization of this answer is called self-realization, i.e., you have realized your true self. Your true self is God, and you have woken up from the eternal slumber that your ego lives in. We are all born into this eternal slumber of separation from the divine. By identification with the body, we are separated from our innermost self, which is the divine. This slumber of separation is called Maya, which is Sanskrit for illusion. This illusion of duality or separation from God is false. Our egos are all but masks worn on consciousness. Put simply, one day, a bazillion years ago, God got bored being alone and all-powerful, so he began to dream a dream of not being alone and all-powerful until infinity, by its nature, came true, and he found himself sitting in your very chair, watching this very video right now. The entire point of yoga, or Buddhism, or any spiritual path is to wake up from this eternal slumber. When the Lord Gautama Buddha got enlightened, the first person he saw noticed his aura shining and asked him, "Who are you?" And to that, the Buddha replied, "I'm awake." In this answer, Lord Buddha was pointing to the fact that he had awoken from the eternal slumber. But in his tenure as a teacher, he didn't talk too much about these things directly because he saw no point in pushing beliefs. Belief is merely accepting something on the level of mind to tame your ego. Knowledge comes from experience. So the Buddha devoted his life to teaching a systematic method for you to experience the truth rather than just sitting around talking about it, which he knew very well would have just pushed beliefs on you. I'll give an example of a well-known story to show how the Buddha treated beliefs. One morning, Lord Buddha was giving a sermon to his followers in the nearby village, and a devoted elder in the village who had followed all of his religious teachings without fail for all of his life and believed with all of his heart in God, came and asked, "Lord Buddha, does God exist?" And the Buddha took a second and said, "No." That day, the villagers proceeded to party and live like they only live once with no recourse in complete debauchery. And later that night, the Buddha gave another sermon. In this sermon, a punk teenager who doesn't believe in God and was known for causing mischief in the village asked him, "Lord Buddha, does God exist?" And the Buddha took a second and said, "Yes." That night, the villagers were all repenting their sins and prepping their fate where they will one day meet their maker. You see, belief and disbelief in both of these people who approached Lord Buddha was separating them from the truth. Buddha knew this before they even opened their mouths. But he didn't give lessons to push beliefs. He did it in a way that would push people in the direction of what will aid them to directly experience the truth. Religion, and this applies to all religions, is just a systematic means of silencing the mind. Once you have silenced the mind, you are in the space that your true self resides. For the case of most religious people, they never silence the mind. In fact, the religious practices often irritate their minds and become attachments that hinder them from this process. Hence the Buddha's response to the old man. And disbelief or lack of religion, on the other hand, can also be an attachment that causes people to do things that are not in their best interest, both in the spiritual realm and the material realm. Hence the punk teenager and the Buddha's response to him. All religions are but training wheels, and their tactics are intended to get you to one-pointedness. If you never ditch the training wheels, you will never see the truth and will be stuck doing religion as done by most in its unfortunate egoic form that separates you from God. And I always stress and say all religions, because any one religion followed wholeheartedly with love, will get you to the point you're trying to get to. Now let's repeat and stress, the religion must be practiced wholeheartedly with love and not in a bigoted manner towards other religions as most egoic followers do. But you have to eventually ditch the training wheels. When you silence the mind and hit one-pointedness, you are ready for self-inquiry. This is where the divine path begins. You think God didn't create all the religions? I have many bridges to sell you if you buy into that. Everything is by the will of God, and that means everything. And while his religions serve a purpose, if you never meet that purpose, you never will get to the actual divine path of God. One of the major avatars or incarnations of God who lived recently, Sri Ramana Maharshi, was known for teaching Atma Vichara. His life was devoted to this, and in his ashram, to his devotees who came from all faiths, he would start by teaching them from their own faith, and when they silenced their mind and were ready for the divine path, the training wheels, i.e. religious teachings, were ditched, and he guided them in Atma Vichara, the divine path itself. Sri Ramana Maharshi, a towering figure in the realm of spirituality, was born as Venkataraman Iyer in 1879 in Tamil Nadu, India. His life, marked by a profound spiritual awakening, unfolded in a way that captivated hearts and minds across the globe. From a young age, Ramana displayed an innate inclination towards matters of the spirit, often pondering the nature of existence and the purpose of life. At the age of 16, Ramana experienced a spontaneous and life-altering awakening, during which he was enveloped by an intense and overwhelming sense of the self. This transformative experience led him to renounce worldly pursuits and embark on a solitary journey of self-inquiry and meditation. He felt an irresistible pull towards the sacred mountain of Arunachala, where he believed the divine presence resided. For many years, Ramana lived in profound solitude, immersing himself in deep meditation and contemplation. His austere lifestyle and unwavering dedication to spiritual practice earned him a reputation as a sage and holy man, attracting seekers from far and wide who sought his guidance and wisdom. In the tranquil setting of his ashram at the foot of Arunachala, Ramana Maharshi welcomed devotees from all walks of life and religious backgrounds. With boundless compassion and humility, he met each seeker at their level of understanding, offering gentle guidance and encouragement on their spiritual journey. Ramana Maharshi's teachings centered around the practice of Atma Vichara, or self-inquiry, as the direct path to realizing one's true nature. He encouraged seekers to ask themselves the fundamental question, who am I? And to delve deeply into the nature of self with sincerity and earnestness. Ramana Maharshi's ashram served as a melting pot of spiritual seekers from diverse religious backgrounds, each drawn to him by the magnetic pull of his presence and teachings. Regardless of their faith traditions, Ramana welcomed all with open arms, recognizing the universal essence that underlies all religious paths. At first, he would guide his students along the practices and beliefs of their respective religions, understanding that the journey towards self-realization often begins within the framework of one's familiar faith. However, as seekers progressed on their spiritual path and cultivated the ability to silence the restless chatter of the mind, Ramana would gently steer them towards the deeper truths of existence. It was at this juncture that he introduced them to the profound practice of Atma Vichara, guiding them beyond the confines of religious dogma and towards direct experiential realization of the self. In this way, Ramana Maharshi's teachings transcend the boundaries of religious doctrine, offering a universal path to spiritual awakening that resonated with seekers from all walks of life. The essence of Ramana Maharshi's teachings lay in the transcending of the limitations of ego and recognizing the underlying unity of all existence. He emphasized the importance of self-awareness and mindfulness as means to dissolve the illusion of separation and experience the boundless bliss of the self. Ramana Maharshi's presence exuded a profound sense of peace and serenity, touching the hearts of all who came into contact with him. His silent gaze, known as Mona Darshan, had the power to transmit deep spiritual insights and awakenings to sincere seekers. Throughout his life, Ramana Maharshi remained unaffected by worldly fame or recognition, embodying the essence of humility and selflessness. He shunned formalities and rituals, teaching by example rather than by words alone. Even after his passing in 1950, Ramana Maharshi's teachings continue to inspire and guide countless individuals on the path of self-realization. His legacy remains an enduring beacon of light, illuminating the way for seekers to discover the eternal truth within themselves. In closing, the timeless wisdom of Atma Vichara, as exemplified by the teachings of Sri Ramana Maharshi, reminds us that the journey of self-discovery is a universal quest that transcends the boundaries of religion and culture. Ramana Maharshi's profound insights into self-inquiry serve as a guiding light, illuminating the path towards realizing our true nature and experiencing the boundless bliss of the self. By delving deep within ourselves and asking the fundamental question, "Who am I?" we embark on a path of profound transformation and self-realization. May we approach the spiritual journey with reverence, humility, and steadfast commitment to uncovering the eternal truth within ourselves. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all the bells and whistles if you're into my content. I'll see you next time.